think most Israelis kind of expected this to happen eventually. It's been 19 months now with unhinged hatred in Western capitals week after week under the guise of Free Palestine, where people are literally calling to globalize the Intifada. And anyone in Israel who's lived in Israel since the 2000s, they know what Intifada means. It's basically killing Israelis. So I don't know what to say other than, the Israelis have been on high alert when they're traveling abroad since October the 7th.
2 Israeli embassy officials have been shot and killed in Washington, D.C. There was a hastily arranged news conference which was taking place about 4:30 this morning, our time, where we learnt that the attacker, named as Elias Rodriguez, had been detained. He'd shouted "Free Palestine" as he opened fire. Israel's ambassador to the US, Yechiel Leiter, also spoke. He gave details about the 2 people who died.
The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center.
Donald Trump posted his condolences on Truth Social. He wrote, "These horrible DC killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen. God bless you all."
Jotam Confino is a journalist in Israel, just north of Tel Aviv. We can speak to him now. Jotam, morning to you.
Good morning to you.
This happened early morning, very early morning, our time, early morning Israeli time. People are waking up to it. What's the reaction?
So it's been widely condemned as expected by both the president, the foreign minister, opposition lawmakers. That's all they talk about, really. I'm watching the news now, and I don't know what to say, really. I think most Israelis kind of expected this to happen eventually. It's been 19 months now with unhinged hatred in Western capitals week after week under the guise of Free Palestine, where people are literally calling to globalize the Intifada. And anyone in Israel who's lived in Israel since the 2000s, they know what Intifada means. It's basically killing Israelis. So I don't know what to say other than, the Israelis have been on high alert when they're traveling abroad since October the 7th. Eurovision was under heavy protection. The Eurovision contender was under heavy protection. And every 3 months or so, there's a new set of guidelines coming out of the foreign ministry for Israelis who are in specific areas in the world, how to act, how to conduct themselves. So, as expected, I would say, but horrific in any possible way.
Yeah, and the fact that Free Palestine was shouted by the person who did this does have a resonance then, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Look, I think for a lot of people in the West, they don't really understand what's happened in the past 19 months because they don't know the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as well as the people who live here do. But for us, and especially for me, when I'm from Denmark, so whenever I watched the demonstrators go march in the streets of Copenhagen week after week and use the word Intifada, or calling for global jihad, or posting literal stickers of Hamas and Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar spray painting Free Palestine, it's something that just, that this is not peaceful. It is a very, very intimidating movement fueled by hatred. Obviously, there are very normal, nice people walking literally because all they care about is civilian Palestinians. But you cannot at this point say that these movements are also not fueled by insane hatred, especially on campuses in the United States.
And just finally, Jotam, we spoke yesterday or the day before when we talked about the narrative around Israel had just hardened completely. It was about its conduct, Netanyahu's particularly conduct towards the Gazans, the problem of the blockade of aid, the problems of the bombing, the widespread bombing. Does this shift the political narrative at all, an event like this, in your view?
Unfortunately, I think that the hardliners in Israel is only going to take advantage of this. They're going to say, look, this is what they're doing to us abroad. What do you think they're going to do to us in Israel if we allow a Palestinian state, or if we compromise on the ceasefire? So, everything is political in Israel. Every possible event, even if it's a horrific terror attack, is always used by, I would say, both sides of the political map for their own political purposes. So you're already seeing now the first voices who are beginning to say, this is exactly the reason why we should not stand down in the face of intimidation, of hatred.
Yeah, and it might impact what they say to their international partners who want them to bring about a ceasefire right away as well. Jotam, good to speak to you. Thank you for bringing that perspective.
Thank you.
That's Jotam Confino, their journalist in Israel, just north of Tel Aviv.
We'll say up front that there is no active threat in our community. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We believe the shooting was committed by a single suspect who is now in custody. Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security. Once in handcuffs, the suspect identified where he discarded the weapon, and that weapon has been recovered, and he implied that he committed the offense. The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody. The suspect has been tentatively identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, Illinois. I don't know what he's telling them at this moment. What I do know is that he is in custody. And as you know, Amari, we have to conduct an investigation, and that requires us to ask many questions.
Thank you. The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center. On the way in, Ms. Bondi was kind enough to hand me the phone. On the other line was the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who told me that his administration is going to do everything it can possibly do to fight and end anti-Semitism.
Is there any indication, can you tell us any more about that? And also for the Attorney General.